Good morning, and thank you for this privilege to talk to you about asset performance management and the history, a little bit of the history. I'll explain the journey that we've been on, which is started in 1993. We had a couple of major companies at Mobile and Alcoa come to us and say, we've got a vision for how we want assets to perform in a very different way. Instead of just keeping track of the work history and when it fails, we want to be proactive and try to figure out how to keep it from failing. We knew what the outcome was going to be, but we didn't know how necessarily we were going to get there. So it was quite a journey that we went through. And on the same time, GE was on a similar journey, but coming at it from an equipment manufacturer, a systems and a predictive system approach, and had a very rich history. We started talking in 1995 about how to collaborate, how to work together, how to solve this big problem for our mutual customers. And so it came down to kind of three things. One is reducing risk. The other one is optimizing and reducing cost. And the third one is planning and optimizing the use of the assets so you get the maximum production and availability out of that asset. To what Jeff was talking about in terms of all those three together combined to equal productivity. And so very mutual goals, very different streams, and it just made sense for us to come together. So we've been working on this together now as part of GE Digital for the last 8 weeks, and I've never been more excited and more motivated in my life. As you can see, all the things we've been watching the last few days, and you think of all that technology coming together to keep assets from failing. Because when assets fail, bad things happen. You lose production, you lose profit, you lose jobs, you lose environmental containment a lot of times. And so what we're doing is not only a good thing from business, but it's a great thing for our societies and our countries and our global community. So when you look at the terrific platform that we're building in Predix and all those capabilities, it just makes sense to plug APM into that because so many things are handled that we were worried about before. Things like, how do you handle that much data? How do you make sure it's secure? How do you connect to digital twins and the digital thread? So we're super excited about being part of this platform as well as the whole ecosystem. So just to go back a little bit in time and talk about how we used to do things. Used to do things with clipboards. We'd ask people that were very busy to go out on their rounds and as they worked in their facilities or on their equipment and record what happened. And we also asked them when computers came out to come back and type that in. Most of these folks had never taken any typing lessons. Most of these folks were very busy and overworked. So we created pockets of really good data. But overall, there were lots of areas where there wasn't as much data as we wanted. And then sensors came along. Sensors at a very low cost, sensors that could communicate wirelessly, and those sensors could create so much new data that could give us insight. So we've gone from having too little data that wasn't that accurate to what feels like way too much data that is way too accurate for us to be able to interpret and understand. And so what we've done is we've buried our workforce in data. And the problem is if it was just data, that would be fine. The issue is that there's recommendations in that data, and those recommendations can point to probability and future failures. There's recommendations that we should be acting on. There's recommendations we should be considering. And the issue is that if we don't listen to those recommendations, now the data's there. It's in the record. And so it's incumbent on us to develop a new way of managing all that data. The opportunity, and Dow Chemical and several of our other key customers came together and said, if we could create intelligent asset strategies that linked to the business strategy, we believe that would be the key to managing all this data. And so they pioneered, working with us, this whole concept of an intelligent asset strategy that allows you to manage by exception, not have to manage all that data the way we used to. But it's not just real-time data, it's not just sensor data, it's actually listening to people, it's listening to other systems, as well as listening to the physical assets. So is this a replacement for all the other systems we have? Absolutely not. Think of this as a system of systems. And that gives us a lot of capability to answer some key questions. Will it fail? When will it fail? And how do I prevent it from failing? Because what happens when we develop very intelligent asset strategies is we're predicting the probability of certain things happen. And we're figuring out how to prevent that or how to sense it in advance. So it's a continuous cycle of improvement, which is really exciting. It's great to be able to break that repair, fix mentality. And you can be part of that with us. We have a customer here with us, a client here with us, that's speaking at 2 o'clock. Santos, which is a GL&G, large project in Australia. And I had the privilege of being there a few months ago. They have 20,000 intelligent asset strategies running. And it's a system of systems. So by combining this data, they're able to spot failures before they happen or pick up on anomalies before the consequences are too great. So it's super exciting to see something that was a concept years ago become reality, and then be able to see how we can take it to the next generation by working with you and harnessing the wisdom and the knowledge and the experience that GE has. The benefits are huge. These are sometimes small percentages, but very large dollars. And it's a virtuous cycle that when things aren't failing, good things happen. And so this is one of the highest payback areas and one of the key areas that you and your clients should be focused on. So again, there's some great sessions coming up at 2 o'clock. Santos will be speaking. There's some things you'll want to go back and watch on the video after the conference. And then there's the true delight I would have if you reach out to us and get a chance to talk about it and understand your perspective. So thank you so much. Look forward to working with you to solve this great opportunity and save a lot of lives and profits. Thank you.